everybody, welcome to another edition of ZFF Daily. I'm your host, Ben Lyons. The 9th annual Zurich Film Festival is in full swing, and amidst all the high-profile international titles, one of the real pleasant surprises of the festival was a film called Dreamland, and I'm honored to have the writer, director, and studio, Petra Volpe. It's nice to see you. Congratulations on being here at the festival. It was an interesting introduction to the city of Zurich for me, your story. Talk to me about where the idea for the film first came from.
Well, thank you for having me, and I'm really glad that they are showing the film at the festival. It's the world premiere, so it was very exciting the past few days. I've been sort of interested in the topic for many years, not just for this screenplay. I lived in a little village near Zurich, and there was a bordel in the middle of the village, and I was just very curious about this place as a little girl. And then I lived in the red light district of Zurich for many years as a student, and I was really fascinated about this parallel world that's completely taking place next to the normal world. And I was always also a little bit sort of frustrated and also angry that I sort of don't participate in this parallel world. I'm just I can just observe it from outside. So when I started to work on Dreamland, or decided I want to explore that, I started a research for it that took more than 1 year.
Wow. Well,
and it actually and in the end it sort of led me back. So I went into this red light world, and it led me back into our world, and I started to search for connections. You know, what does this red light milieu have to do with our normal reality, like with our day-to-day life and relationships?
Well, we'll continue to discuss the film, but in the meantime, here's a little bit more about the project Dreamland, which is right here at the Zurich Film Festival.
Hey, aufhören! Das geht nicht, hallo, das geht hier nicht, okay? Aufhören. Sie! Komm, wir gehen nach hinten, komm, wir gehen nach hinten. Setz dich hin.
Zurich, December 24th, Christmas Eve. Mia, an 18-year-old Bulgarian who tries to make her living as a prostitute, crosses the path of 4 different people in their lives. Judith, a dedicated social worker. Rolf, a lonely middle-aged man. Maria, the widow. And Alina and her family. Lena's family idyll is shattered when she discovers that her husband is cheating on her with prostitutes.
Weißt du, das würde mich jetzt interessieren.
Vielleicht könnt ihr das auch ein andermal diskutieren.
Du meinst, ob mich das reizen würde? Persönlich?
Ja, genau das.
Mama, was sind Prostituierte?
All of their desires, fears and loneliness add up to affect Mia's life. Traumland is an episodic tale of loneliness, lust and betrayal.
Great performances from the entire cast, and the backdrop of Christmas really adds an interesting layer to the film. Talk to me a little bit about why you decided to tell the story around the holidays.
Well, because of course around the holidays we are all full of hope for a nice time with each other, very simple, and Christmas is also the feast of love, and I thought for this story that it's very much about the lack of empathy and about pain, about loneliness. I needed an emotional day, or a day that these things can evolve to an extreme or develop into extremes. And that's why I thought Christmas time is the perfect setting for this story.
I would imagine you did plenty of research before the project, and you, I assume, met with some real prostitutes here in Zurich or from where you're from, and talk to me a little bit about what that was like and how it affected you.
Well, I researched for over a year, and I was 1 week with the police squad, that's for the human trafficking police squad, and I was with an NGO. I spent many nights on the streets where these girls work. I talked to them, I talked to the social workers, and it had a very strong effect. I mean, I was really I also talked to pimps, I talked to Johns, and it was very emotional for me, and I needed very long time to digest that information and transform it into a story that tells more than just this, that doesn't just depict reality, but that goes one step further.
Were people apprehensive when a director shows up with a camera and wanting to talk to people, or were people willing to tell their stories?
I didn't show up with a camera first. I was very careful. It's very much a trust-building work. You talk to people, you make sure they understand you're not after a sensationalistic story, you know, yet another one that's made on television, but that you're interested in something else and that you're truly interested in their work. And you talk a lot, you write a lot of emails, you visit them, and then you have to be respectful and discreet and not aggressive, and that was my approach.
You and I were talking before the show started today about how challenging it is for a filmmaker to authentically depict real life as opposed to a stylized work or something fantastical and over the top. Who are some of the filmmakers that you really enjoy or maybe grew up watching that you think authentically are able to tell real stories?
Well, there's of course a lot. There's so many that I really love and that have influenced my work, but they're not necessarily like I love the Dardenne brothers, for example, because it's so real. But I also love Antonioni, but that's more like very stylized and cool. And in the end, you find your own style. Of course, as a film student, you devour all these things, and then it's a very long way for me. It took some years to find my own voice, you know, and I'm still looking, I'm still trying to find you're on the search all the time, and you have to find, like, every project needs a different approach, and that's what I love about my work. You cannot be in a routine. You have to break the routines all the time and really think carefully, okay, this material, what does it need from me? You have to sort of be humble with the topic and listen to it and approach it on silent foot.
Yeah. Well, it's fitting that this film had its world premiere here at the Zurich Film Festival. So how was the green carpet for you the other night? Did you have a good time?
Yeah, I had a good time. I was very excited, and it was just, it's almost, I don't know, it's you're in a haze, and it just happens, and then you're in the cinema. And the biggest moment, of course, for me was when the lights went down and the movie started, because it's the moment of birth, you know, to see the movie with 400 people for the first time, and to feel the atmosphere through the movie. Where do they laugh? Where are they silent? It's such a gift. And it was really amazing and very emotional also for my whole crew and my actors. Well,
ZFF Daily had a chance to be at the green carpet, and we spoke with some of those 400 people afterwards to get their reaction to the film. I think you'll enjoy this. Take a look.
Yeah, I thought the movie was very difficult, but really important. Yeah, that's how I felt. So I'm still processing it, and it'll take time. So that means it was a good movie.
I love the characters a lot and the realistic tone of the film.
I think what was most interesting about it was being able to see and hear the stories of people you usually wouldn't meet, or maybe you meet but you don't get to hear their story.
Well, I was very impressed by the actress that played the prostitute. She played it in a very impressive way. And yeah, sometimes I was really wondering if she's doing this in her real life, because it was really, really well played.
Well, surprisingly, everyone came out like this, with a huge smile. You know, I mean, it is a sad film. It's, some people say, I don't know, I cried so much, and they're laughing. You know, I think it's a defense mechanism that they're having, but it's much better than to see people who are trying to cry. These people are really crying inside, but they don't know it yet.
You enjoy seeing her talk about the film like
Yes.
that, huh?
Yeah.
Where did you find her? What has she done?
Well, she's actually been in 11 movies.
Mm-hmm.
She's just 21,
Wow.
and she was discovered in a movie by Jasmila Spanic, and it's called Grabavica, a fantastic movie. And she was, I think, 13 or something when she had her first role.
She's excellent in the movie,
Yes.
and when you're casting a film like this, you're looking at people from all walks of life, all different ages. It's a difficult movie to cast, I would assume.
And funny enough, it wasn't really, because many roles I've written with specific actors in mind, because also in the German, like in the Swiss German speaking part, there are not that many really good actors. And really many roles I exactly knew, I'm writing it for this person, I'm writing it for this person. And Luna was like, I was talking with my friend Bettina Oberli, who was also a director, and we were going back and forth who could play that role. And she said, have you thought about Luna? And I was like, Luna. And then I met her, I wrote her a long email and she wrote me back, and then we met on Skype. I was actually in New York and we talked and we immediately clicked.
Well, as a native New Yorker, I love the New York connection to this movie and to your work. What is it about my hometown that you enjoy and you feel the need to not shoot your movies there, but just to go and write parts of them there?
Well, the thing is, in Berlin, I've been there now for 16 years, and it's a very exciting city, but it's also for me routine, and I like to break my own routines, and when I go to New York, that happens for me. And I just feel very, very inspired to write there. I love to go to a big cafe and have all that buzz around me and the New Yorkers, and I can go totally into my world when I have this noise. And then I wrote many drafts in New York, actually. And then, of course, love.
Yeah. Well, when you're writing, and you say you oftentimes write specifically for certain actors, is that something you would advise young filmmakers to do when they're working on their material, to have somebody in particular in mind, even if maybe that person's unattainable?
Maybe I mean, it helps me because writing is very much about imagining things and being precise. And if you know actors and you know their gestures and you have a face, I think it just fuels your imagination. And I write very character-driven screenplays. I'm not somebody who invents a plot and then I feel in the characters. That's not my approach at all. Also with this movie, I didn't have a plot.
Very patient movie, and you kind of trust the audience a lot to stick with it, because when they do, it pays off.
Yes, it's a movie that has a structure that's not so usual. It's almost like a spiral. It starts very slowly. I always say it comes on soft pause and then it bites you in the neck. That was my sort of my dramaturgy for the movie.
Well, one of the other filmmakers who I had a chance to speak with here on our show, Ryan Coogler, said that when he premiered his film at Sundance, he thought that was going to be it. He was going to show the movie at Sundance, and then he was done with it, and then he'd go on and do the next movie. Obviously, that's not the case for him, and it's not the case for you either. When you premiere a film like Dreamland here at Zurich, you then go off to, you're going to another film festival, and there's all this other stuff that comes with making a movie. It's not just make the movie and you're done. How do you handle all that stuff? Do you enjoy this whole process of film, a part of your job of filmmaking?
I don't know yet, because it's the first time, and I mean the last 3 days I always say we had the life of rock stars for once. Normally you write all by yourself in the little, in a little room, and then you work very hard on the set, and now for 3 days we have been drinking champagne and messing up the hotel room and doing things like that. And but I don't know how interesting that is for a long period. I think I will go to Busan, to Korea on Wednesday with the film, and that's going to be very exciting because it's an Asian audience.
Yeah, it's amazing how films are universal. They can, play around the world and take filmmakers around the world. And after you go to Korea, do you continue on with promoting Dreamland, or do you have another project that you're working on right away?
Well, I have another project. I already have deadlines, and my producers will make sure I'm keeping them.
Okay.
They're very strict.
Well, I can't wait to see what you do next. You do a wonderful job with this. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Here at Zurich. And you mentioned producers and how films come together and sort of the next project. And in addition to the Zurich Film Festival this year, at this time of year, there is actually the Film Financing Forum, which is taking place right here in Zurich, and Kristen was on the scene. Take a look.
Hi, I'm Kristen Vermilio. Welcome to ZFF Daily. We're here at the beautiful Dolder Grand Resort for the 4th Film Finance Forum at the Zurich Film Festival. We're going to go see if we can talk to a couple people about the future of film financing today.
It's about storytelling. Fundamentally, the parallel between luxury industry and the movie industry is storytelling. When you buy a luxury product, a watch, or fashion, or whatsoever, you need inspiration. You need to be inspired by the brand. You need to identify with the brand, and therefore you need to create content for that brand.
When we're packaging a film, the most important thing is the talent. Obviously, you have to, when you're financing a film, you're relying on the talent to have create value in the marketplace and something that you can really rely on.
YouTube changes the landscape of film distribution by giving everyone the creative freedom to do what he wants on a platform that is not only worldwide accessible, but also very engaged and very interactive. So that means that you also get direct response on your content.
The current navigation systems are built around technology, primarily designed to get you large amounts of movie really quickly on your screen, and they now work. They didn't work before, but they do now. What we don't have is a curation service, somebody who is giving you that experience you used to have when you went to the video store and you'd browse through military movies or action movies or comedies and see something in a box that felt sensuously interesting. And that's what we need to get online. And I think the key is a combination of artistic judgment in curating it and using 3D technology so that you can feel that you have a physical relationship with the movie.
The last movie you made, it was Essential, The Immigrant, that was driven by European financing.
Child 44?
It depends on the director that you work with. So auteur directors sell in a big way in Europe, and so it usually is essential, right?
Absolutely. I don't think I've made a film where European financing wasn't critical to getting the movie made.
Yeah.
To be really trying to create great stories out of Switzerland, because this is a shame that there is not more movies coming out of Switzerland, and I'm sure that you guys have a beautiful culture, beautiful stories, and you have obviously a lot of potential investors in Switzerland. I'm sure that one day somebody will be capable again to create beautiful Swiss movies, potentially successful. And the other advice would be travel all over the world.
Thank you, Kristen, for that, and I want to thank Petra for coming in studio. Be sure to see Dreamland as it plays at this year's Zurich Film Festival. Tomorrow on ZFF Daily, Kristen spotlights a Brazilian film, as well as Diana, the high-profile project starring Naomi Watts. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.